Thank you, Reverend. Thank you, everybody who came today. On behalf of the Ball family, we are so appreciative of you being here with us. I'm Dave Ball. I'm one of Janice's 3 children, and I want to tell you a little bit more about Mom. And I'll be referring to her as Mom because that is what she was to me, and to many others too, including quite a few who weren't her biological children. She had such a generous, nurturing, and accepting nature. So much so that many of our friends also considered her Mom. Mom loved a good story, so I hope you will be patient and listen while I tell you her story. I always wanted her to write it down, but she never did. Mom was too busy living to write it all down. Had she wanted to, she could have given a great last lecture. Mom was born in Saginaw, Michigan in 1925. Her father was Edward Ward, a young osteopathic physician who would later become president of the American Osteopathic Association and start 2 hospitals. Her mother was Edith Ward, a homemaker and already a mother to Janice's older sister, Millie. Edith was a flapper in the roaring 20s and a talented singer and painter. Edith's father was Jack Ward, a hard-drinking Irish immigrant who was a sculptor and stonemason. There are 2 sculptures on the public square in Muncie, Indiana that are fine examples of his work. So you can see Mom's artistic talents came to her naturally. Although this was the middle of the Depression, Mom had a wonderful childhood. She traveled extensively with her father to medical conferences. She caught trout in Yellowstone Lake, saw the bright lights of New York, and walked through the monuments of Washington, D.C. As a child, Mom was shy. I know this seemed hard to believe. Her older sister was outgoing and well-liked, and Mom felt overshadowed. Millie even became a teacher in Mom's high school, much to Mom's dismay. But by her later teen years, Mom had come into her own. She attended the University of Michigan during World War II and made the best of a difficult social situation, as most of the men were off to war. Not knowing what she wished to do, she pursued liberal arts with a major in zoology. Upon graduation, her father asked what she would now do. Mom's answer was that she would like to get married and have a family. Doc Ward's response, and this is a direct quote, "Any damn fool can do that." So you can see that her father, although a conservative Republican, had some progressive ideas about women. Mom became a social worker in Detroit and Lansing. She met Dad on a blind date. He was smitten. She was quite taken with him too. He wore white buck shoes, and when she got cold, he offered her his sweater. Dad was an electrical engineering student at Michigan State on the GI Bill. They went out every night that week, even those during finals. At the end of the week, he asked her to marry him. She agreed to wait and see over the summer. He left for a summer job in New Jersey and wrote her letters. Beautiful and romantic letters that we found only after Mom had moved into the nursing home. He came back in the fall, and they were married in December. He graduated with high honors the following spring and took a job at Bell Labs in New Jersey, where he studied at their Kelly College, learning from Nobel laureates who later established Silicon Valley. That October, Mom gave birth to twins, Chris and I. The joke was that they had been married less than a year and already had 2 kids. That was hard to explain at cocktail parties. Dad took a job with a startup electronics firm in Illinois. we settled in an idyllic town west of Chicago called Geneva. Mom set about the task of raising twins and becoming established in the community. She joined the Newcomers Club, Welcome Wagon, the Geneva Hospital Women's Auxiliary, and the Methodist Church. A few years later, Brian was born, and the family was complete. So there we have it. A husband, 3 children, a 2-story colonial house, Ethan Allen furniture, Revere cookware, Tupperware for the leftovers of pork chops and meatloaf in lime green jello, which often had little pieces of fruit cocktail floating in it. The 2-car garage housed a Ford station wagon with fake wood paneling. The other car was Dad's toy, an MG convertible, which ran intermittently. It was a typical middle-class Midwestern life. Mom helped with school projects, sewed merit badges on Boy Scout sashes, and picked us up for music lessons and confirmation classes. Dad was rising in the corporate world of high tech. He traveled a lot. We often saw him only on weekends. But Mom was always there for us. In the way of children, we thought little about her desires and needs or goals. Thus it continued for many years. She was patient, selfless, and accepting. She cheered us on. She celebrated our victories and commiserated with us when we failed. More than once, she took us to the hospital with broken bones, or concussions, or open wounds that needed stitching. When my parents realized that college education for twins would be expensive, Mom went back to school herself to earn her teaching certificate. She taught middle school science for many years, and that income paid for college for Chris, Brian, and I. Many years later, we came to understand Mom as her own person. With a perspective gained from life, we could see her for the remarkable person she was and always had been. So bright, so inquisitive, and always interested. In my 60 years of knowing her, I do not ever recall hearing her say she was bored. She was still taking adult ed classes through the bully program at Europe. The history of Holland, sign her up. Wine tasting 101, may we. So what did we learn from her? Practice goodwill toward all, rich or poor, black or white, or brown or yellow, male or female, able-bodied or disabled, straight or gay. What unites us is greater than what divides us. Every person has their own individual worth and dignity. Everyone has a story. Ask questions and listen for the answers. Don't be afraid to question what is told to you as the truth. Use reason and logic, debate and discuss, respect the scientific method. Don't be afraid to admit you're wrong. There is no disgrace in changing your mind about something. Make the best of every situation. Most of life is how you look at things. Whatever you do, have fun doing it. Find courage. Most of the things worth doing are at least a little bit scary. Do your homework, but then muster the courage to jump off the cliff and build your wings on the way down. Finally, life is an adventure. Wander, explore, try different things. Read anything and everything. Build rocket ships. Raise alligators in the bathtub. Ferment wine in the basement. Have a pet rabbit or duck or snake. Sail to Mackinac Island. Play bridge. Practice your French in Paris. Canoe in the Canadian wilderness. Rebuild a sailboat on the front porch of the house. Play the electric guitar. Loud. Mom was cool with all of that. She knew that nobody starts out being the person they want to be. She encouraged us to each find our way and then shine our little light for the world to see. So thanks for everything, Mom. It's been a blast, and we're sure going to miss you. Allison's going to say a few words now.